Hello, I'm Alex Mansfield, the host of Manny Talks Shooting, and welcome to another episode. This is the shooting podcast where I talk to individuals all across the shooting industry. We'll talk competition, self-defense, concealed carry. If you like this content, check out our YouTube channel, Manny Talks Shooting. And without further ado, let's get to this episode. Manny Talks Shooting is proudly presented to you by D2 Custom Guns. Did you know that Phil the Groundhog isn't the only thing Puxatawny, Pennsylvania is famous for? That's right, D2 Custom Guns, the home of Dan Heizenreiter and one of the best, fabulous 2011 builders in the country. So make sure you guys go check him out, D2 Custom, anywhere you can see him on the social media, Facebook, Instagram, go check him out. If you see myself, Patches Reader, anyone with the D2 Custom Guns, make sure you go check him out, and you will thank me later. Now, let's get on to the show. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of the Manny Talks Shooting podcast, proudly presented to you by D2 Custom Guns. Today, we're sitting down with a man who likes to make steel targets that will test your abilities. We're sitting down with Mr. Ron Kiesel of Sigma Artworks. How you doing, Ron?
Good.
It's good to have you on. We met and chatted it up at Buckeye Blast for a little bit, and it was a good time meeting you, kind of putting names to faces and stuff, and we're gonna have a good conversation. I can feel it. I can definitely feel it. So I guess for all my listeners, that we always go through this, but some people probably don't know you yet. They might have heard of Sigma Artworks if they went to Area 8. As you said in the pre-show, it was plastered everywhere. So Ron, who are you, and how did you get into shooting?
Well, I'm Ron Kiesel. How I got into shooting was I've been shooting forever, never competed. Kind of finally moved to an area and ended up joining a gun club, which happened to be Greater Pittsburgh Gun Club, and finally was at a club that shot USPSA, and I said I want to try that. And most other people, as soon as I tried it, I didn't just fall in. I dove in head first and bounced off the bottom of the pool. So for the last year and a half, my life has been USPSA and practice. So that's pretty much how I started and where I'm at right now. There's a lot of people that were involved helping me up to this point, but we can talk about that with the rest of some of your questions.
Oh, yep, absolutely. So you say you've been shooting forever, right? Like, was that just plinking or hunting or
just the typical? Yeah, I grew up hunting with my dad. I was always into guns and went to the range and shot stuff, but never just for fun. And you just concealed carry, but never took any classes, never did any competition shoots. I lived in the city. So I wasn't around that many people that did that kind of stuff. So I wasn't really exposed to it ever.
Gotcha.
But I was very familiar with guns.
Gotcha. So you always grew up in Pennsylvania, or did you move there throughout your life, or?
Pittsburgh, about a half a mile from the city of Pittsburgh for 30-some years.
There you go. Okay.
And now I moved about a half an hour outside of Pittsburgh to Burgestown.
Okay.
Been out here for about 5 years now. I live about 15 minutes from Greater Pittsburgh's Gun Club now.
That's nice. That definitely makes it easy to go practice or go to a match. That's for sure.
It makes it very easy.
Can't complain about that at all, really. So that's cool. So, did you just go to the range one day and then see a USPSA match, or did you find it on the internet, or what?
The word actually got out that Greater Pittsburgh was reopening. Greater Pittsburgh's been a club in this area since the 70s. It was a Winchester shotgun club, and then it was privately owned, and then it closed, and then it reopened, and then it closed, and now it's back open with Bill Drummond. Mm-hmm. So I'd heard rumblings in the area, and a couple of my friends that I was shooting shotguns with, sporting clays, was like, hey, Greater Pittsburgh's back open. So we went out, checked it out, and joined. And that's when I found out, they did USPSA. They did a little bit of IDPA when they started. So basically I kind of lucked into it with another friend that shot shotguns that took me out there.
Mm-hmm. So, what drew you to? So, is it just because it was an easy competition or a fun outing to do sporting clays, or what drove you
It's
to start with sporting clays more regularly?
so I have some bird dogs,
Okay.
and I do some bird hunting. So I've always shot shotguns. Locally there's a little sportsman's club on my road that I live on, and they shoot trap. So shoot a little bit of trap there, and was going around to some other clubs with my friend, and we'd shoot sporting clays here and there. I was never super big into doing it every weekend, but we would go fairly frequently,
Hmm.
um, just because it's really fun.
Gotcha. Nothing wrong with that. I know plenty of people who loved shooting sporting clays, like at the old club I was at. They'd shoot it Tuesday, Thursdays, and every other Saturday. I'm just like, guys have like nothing better to do but shoot these shotguns. Like, I mean, we're bad enough with the USPSA. We're gone every weekend, but it's like these old guys who are like on a fixed income, find enough money and time to shoot 100 rounds of, 100 clays twice a day, or twice a day, 3 times a week. I'm just like, Lord, at least you get the senior discount at least.
That then Greater Pittsburgh has a public night
Hmm.
for shotguns every Friday night. So started hanging out there, every Friday
Hmm.
shooting shotguns, and then that's when once I started shooting USPSA matches, hanging out there every Friday with Bill and talking. Um, it just I basically haven't missed a Friday out there in a year. So
Gotcha. Well, and that's cool, and especially when you get a good community around a club, it makes things like it makes it very easy to keep going and volunteering. Because I don't think when you started even into USPSA, you've only been in a year and a half, that you'd already be volunteering and helping support, do a bunch of other stuff. Most
I
people are
never.
like, I'm too greedy, I'm just gonna shoot.
Yeah, it's we all really want to see Greater Pittsburgh become a really good club, which it's turned into already. But with the help that we all put into it, it's we're getting it to a point a lot faster than we ever thought it would get to.
Hmm. Well, and that's cool too, right? You build it up and you can make it as best as you possibly can, and that's what most people should strive for, if it's in shooting or volunteering or whatnot. So that's good. So what did you first? So when you first found about a USPSA at Greater Pitt, what'd you shoot? Production, single stat, open carry optics. What?
I think my first two matches I ever shot was carry optics, just because everybody has a carry optics gun. And then
Hmm.
very quickly after seeing what was out there, I had it in my head that I wanted to shoot open.
Hmm.
But I also knew that picking up an open gun, your first couple matches in was not a good idea. So
Hmm.
I picked up a limited gun because it was 2011 platform, and it really makes you focus on the targets. So
Hmm.
I shot limited for that whole first year and a little bit of into the second year. So basically, I've shot limited
Hmm.
at major power factor as well, shooting a 40 right off the get go.
Right. So who? So you CO. So would you have like a Glock or something with a red dot on it, or?
Canic.
Okay.
I'm a mechanic fan. The trigger out of the box, I don't think it can be beat.
So you had a Canic even before you started shooting USPSA, or did you start with one gun and then switch to the Canic and then switch to limited?
I actually had the Canic,
Okay.
um, and then I figured out that with some base pads was a great CO gun, so I just started shooting that, and I still shoot it from time to time when we have some night shoots locally that you need a light on something and it'll fit in a holster. So I still shoot it from time to time. I really like them.
Gotcha. So I like how you're like, well, I want to go right open, which I mean, man after my own heart, right? Like, but so you want it? So did you feel like you were compromising with limited, or?
No, because it may feel like you're being compromised with limited because it's difficult. I
Mhm.
think limited is very underrated when other people watch limited guys shoot. If they've either never shot it, it's very difficult. But there's certain people in the sport that are putting it down with the limited gun and still finishing, overall with the limited gun. So it is possible. But in my opinion, to do that and finish that high overall with the limited gun, it is probably the hardest thing you could do in the sport, in my opinion.
Well, yeah. Well, you know the iron sights, especially how the matches are going nowadays, is that like there's far steel, far partials. Like iron sights are not very forgiving for those. Like
I shot handgun nationals at Cardinal last year, and it was difficult. There were some far targets, a lot of hard covers, but it's going to test the skills. It's not close up open targets, but yeah, that was really difficult with a limited gun.
Yeah, definitely. I could imagine that. That would probably be a very rough first nationals to go to too. that I wouldn't be surprised of. So, so you shot limited for pretty much the first full year. Now you're in open. Is it every thrill you thought it was going to be?
Yes and no. Going from irons to a dot is, I mean, it's everything. I'm sure everybody's had that epiphany once they start shooting a dot, and it's great. But the difference in open is, yeah, going from irons to a dot, man, I can shoot so much faster. Well, the top guys that are holding on to that open gun can shoot it 3 times as fast as you think you can shoot it. So you're still chasing another level even with an open gun. So open guns don't fix scores. You still have to shoot it.
This is very true. You still have to shoot it. Like, and most people think the gun shoots itself. I mean, kind of. I mean, you still got to have good fundamentals, right? Like the gun's still going to kick you around. I mean, just because we have a fancy red dot that doesn't actually move is kind of nice. So
there's advantages to the open gun, but you just have to shoot it that much faster to be competitive at the top level. That it just has. It takes your training just to a different level.
Oh, 100%. I agree with that. Like, and that's where kind of my biggest flaw is. Like right now, I'm having great points. I'm having great vision, but I am not, transitioning the gun as fast as I possibly probably could, and I'm definitely not running as fast as I probably should be. Right? Like I look at some matches. I'm like, so like I shot area 8, and then there was Kentucky. So I shot Kentucky. I mean, I won my class, which was awesome, but I'm also like, how am I that much slower than the guy who won the match? Like I'm like, and I thought I was running, but there was some and if you have rock and that's in gravel that's not really tamped down very well and you're kicking it around, the confidence on the running goes out the window for me. I'm like, I'm gonna stay on my feet and not die. Because I mean, as you could know, like even Cardinal has the same type of rocks. You will if it's slippery, you're going down, and you don't want to go down. No one ever wants to fall down. But yeah, so the speed is definitely, it has to be there and open. Like, I wish I was one of these guys who was a little bit younger than me who's just running around like a crazy madman, like giving no cares. I'm just like, I wish I was that fast. Well, I mean, if I lose about 20 more pounds, I probably could be. That's just the problem. The weight doesn't go away very fast. So you're shooting open now. You're very fortunate. I remember we talked about this at Buckeye. You're shooting some Infinities right now. And you're probably, 38 Super Comp then?
Yeah, they are in Super Comp, yeah.
Okay. Now, I'll take this to this then. So you come right fresh into the sport, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to jump into 40 caliber. Did you buy 40 or did you load it? Because I see you have a Mark 7 next to you.
I was loading it. So I've always reloaded, for rifles and not progressive pistoly, but I've always reloaded. And as soon as I saw that I was going to have to shoot 40 and limited to make major power factor, and when you're shooting a 2011, you can't really buy ammunition that's tailored for a 2011, so you kind of have to load it. So I started loading right away off of a Dillon, and then quickly found out with a training regimen and shooting, thousands of rounds of ammo that I needed something different to make ammo. So I upgraded to a 1050 that was auto driven. And then about 6 months later, I upgraded to the Apex 10. So I didn't just jump in right away. I kind of upgraded a little bit as a time, but I can't say enough about a Mark 7. It just simplifies. It makes stuff so easy. If you're going to shoot the amount of rounds that these things can put out. They just make it so easy for you.
Right. So do you load ammo the night before the match then?
This year it seems that way.
Yeah.
My job's been a little bit busy this year, and I've been kind of tight on time. So yes, I have been standing here pumping the press out for fact Area 8. I was pumping ammo out the night before Area 8, and it all worked out. But no, I'm back up to a little bit of a stockpile now. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good because I mean I've seen plenty of videos from John Vlieger who's like, "Oh, I guess it's the night before the match. Time to make ammo." Turns the button, turns the machine on, and just starts going. I'm like, I wish that was the case for me. I mean,
I really, really, really try not to do that because I mean these things run fantastic, but they still have dies and a bunch of moving parts, and like anything can happen at any time.
mm-hmm.
You know, if one little spring breaks somewhere and shuts you down, then you're out of luck. So I try to do things ahead of time so that I don't run into that problem.
Yeah, well, especially when you run volume too, right? That's like the big thing. Like, if you're planning, oh, I'm going to load 1,000 rounds in one day, I'm like, good luck. Like, especially if you're cranking the handle, your arm's going to hurt. Like, when I had to, I think I had to load like 2,000 rounds, like over, like I had like a month. So like every day I do like 200 rounds or so, and then be like, well, if I get some more done, I do. If not, I can take a day off. But yeah, I need to automate. I definitely need to upgrade and automate.
These things will punch out 1,000 rounds in an hour with no hiccups at all.
Mm-hmm.
So it turns your reloading time into not very much.
Yeah. Well, for me, it wasn't even like when I pull the handle, it's not even like this, like the arm cranking handle. It's like my other arm that's holding on to like the strong mount or something, like bracing myself, like just to like, because I mean, I have a 750, so I got to push that primer in, and I'm like, get in there, and then it's like it's always this arm that hurt. It's my non cranking arm that always gave me a fit, but I hate reloading. It's out of necessity because no, you can't just buy ammo and expect it to always be working for your gun. So, I mean, it'd be nice if that was the case, but I wouldn't want to pay for that either, though. I mean, especially when you shoot volume,
and not when you want to play with open guns.
Yeah. Yep. So you're like I said, you loaded 40 first. And then you moved to 38 Super Comp. I mean, obviously, 38 Super Comp's taller and skinnier. It's like a 9, but did one give you more fits when you first started than the other, or was it pretty smooth for you then?
40, I loaded them both on a Mark 7. They each have their little quirks on, what the case is like and how much they like to be flared and this, that, and the other. But I feel like Super Comp went easier for some reason. I don't know if it's just the shape of the case or what, but 38 Super Comp just seems to load a little bit smoother. And I don't even know why. It just seems that way.
Yeah. Well, and then if you think about it too, it's nice because you don't have to ever worry about case volume because you're never going to be spilling a bunch of powder. Like with me shooting 9 major, well, not now since I switched powders, but when I was shooting 3N38 out of my 9 major, the chance of spilling powder was very great, and then you have a freaking powder mess everywhere. Are you using Vitavori, or are you using a different powder?
3N38.
Okay.
Crazy. I've heard of guys running that 9 major too, but 3N38 has been the long time Infinity Gun 38 Super Comp go-to powder. Seems like forever. So,
Yep. So I was running 9.2 grains of 3N38 under a 124. So let's just say it was very compressed, but it was clean and it had a decent recoil impulse, but at least a 9 had a decent impulse, but it was definitely clean. But at some point it got pricey, but then everything's gotten pricey now too. Like we're back at I wouldn't say we're at a powder shortage, but it just seems like powder prices have gone sky high now. But so that's cool. So you're cranking it out. At least you're smart. Like you know that you don't have a lot of time, so you bought the auto drive. So you're just like, make ammo for me. You could even teach your dog to make ammo for you.
you can't walk away from it. I mean, you
Oh
could,
yeah, I understand.
you could,
that.
but I don't walk away from it. You can't have a squib, so you got to keep an eye on it the whole time.
Yeah, and that's got to and that's got to be very difficult. Well, I guess it's probably more likely to happen to have a squib than a double. You can't ever have a double charge and open because
No,
the case is just get the powers everywhere at that point. But so yeah, so so you've been shooting your show. It's been you can tell it's been a day, and I know tomorrow's the holiday, so I'm just like brain turn off at some point. But so you started open this season. Did you have so you shot the Buckeye Blast? Was that your first major of the season then?
yes, and
Okay.
I decided to do it in open.
Right.
So I had about 2-3 practice sessions with the open gun, and then I just went straight to Buckeye. I was feeling really good in practice with it, but wasn't just wasn't as familiar with the gun as I thought I was for Buckeye. Plus, I'm still relatively new to the sport, so it went well for me. It just didn't go as well as maybe I thought it was going to go. So I just hit the practice harder when I got back. But yes, it was a lot better shooting a major at Cardinal with a dot. I will say that.
Yeah. Well, and so I guess I haven't really talked to much people about Buckeye. What did you feel of the match?
I feel like all their matches are always great. They've always got a mix of those far targets, and they've got some close stuff on the wooden wall side. They got some short courses in there. I've never shot a bad match there. I don't have anything to complain about Cardinal at all. A lot of people rumble about the gravel and stuff up there, but it is what it is. Everybody shoots the match on the same surface, so you just got. But you do have to be a little bit more careful at Cardinal. It seems like with your footing, but.
Oh, I have plenty of times where I've almost fallen, and it's like, well, keep the gun safe. I will die falling down, but I will keep the gun safe. But yeah, I agree. I thought the match was good. I liked it. I mean, I could have shot better. I always could shoot better, right? It's usually how it goes. But I thought it was a good mix. Other than what was my biggest complaint? Oh, I didn't like that there was one whole side was all USPSA targets, and then the whole other side was all IPSC targets. I'm like, I don't want and so we shot all the IPSC. So on that staff match, we shot all the IPSC targets first, and then because we all shot the second zone. But I thought both zones were good. I think my only complaint was there was like one. Oh, it was the unloaded table start stage. This one bothered me. That everybody did pretty much. You had to grab 2 mags and the gun, and I felt there should have been another barrel like somewhere downrange. So if you just wanted to been like, all right, I'm going to load the gun, shoot it, and then I'm going to risk it to get the biscuit, and if I can get to my second magazine, awesome. Because everybody had to stow and load on the clock, and I'm just like, I don't like that.
That is a skill that needs practice. Luckily, with the IPSC target thing, Bill Drummond owns Greater Pittsburgh, and Bill shoots world matches and a lot of IPSC matches in Europe. So Greater Pittsburgh is very familiar with what an IPSC target is.
Oh, I mean, dude, that's all I train on. I train on IPSCs because I'd rather have the harder target and be able to push speed. I mean, I feel like a little bit that the USPSA target is a little bit of a crutch because you have so much more vertical scoring possibility to get an A and or a hit. Because say you don't time it right on USPSA target, you might be able to hit the neck or maybe even the A head box, right? With an IPSC target, you pull the trigger and then you don't time the gun enough, right? And you pull it before the top, it's still over the top. There's nothing to save you. It's gone. It's going over it. But I like. Go ahead.
I'm curious to hear people talk about Carry Optics Nationals and see what those people thought of shooting a whole match with IPSC targets, because that's something pretty new to a big USPSA major in the States.
Right. Well, so funny enough, I just talked to Casey Reed and Luke Faust last night. So today is 7-3. I talked to them on 7-2. They really enjoyed the whole IPSC match, the whole IPSC target match. There was no real complaints. They liked the stages. There was ways that they drove down the hit factors that I didn't think of because because I went and watched on Saturday. I'll say this. I went and watched the match on Saturday. Saw my buddy Patches and Ryan Snyder, which was funny. We all wore the same shirt. We all wore funny enough, I'll tell you this. I took a picture of the shirt I was wearing and I sent it to Dan. I'm like, all right, I'm going to Carry Optics Nationals tomorrow. This is the shirt I'm wearing. Which he's like, all right, cool. And I'm betting he didn't even text Patches or Ryan. They're just like, we're going to wear the white shirt today. So I was like, and I was pissed at myself because I didn't get a picture of all of us. I've been like, look, we coordinated without coordinating. But I thought there was a lot of in and outs, right? So you like L-shaped walls that you had to go into a tight spot and then you had to you had to run the maze again to get back out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I felt like there's a lot of that. But then Casey and Luke brought it up like, yeah, it's a way to drive down hit factors because especially in the wood bays, you're more likely to have a hoser-ish stage because you don't have as much width and depth to use.
Can't spread the targets out as far, yeah.
Right. So they're like, well, it could be a burner, and then you have 1,000,007 hit factor stages. But if you use like what I call the in and outs, you can drive it down by movement and forcing people to go in and have to come back out. So you can't always be shooting, which is a good test of skill. And I'm like, okay, that makes more sense. It turns my gripe of the match into a good learning and training tool, right? So something to how to on a stage to drive down hit factor without throwing a million no shoots and hardcover and
yeah.
Now, did I feel that I saw some weird funky no shoots out at 20 yards like in zone 3? I'm like, that's a little rough, guys. Like, I mean, we had to shoot Buckeye Blast, right? We had the dreaded 40-yard paper stage with which I came away clean on. I'm like, yes.
Which turns out that 40-yard paper stage happened to be my best stage of Buckeye.
Oh, that was God, what was that? Was that stage 10? Nope, not that one.
Yeah, it was down towards the end on the.
Was it 11? Nope. Was that stage? No, maybe it's. No. Oh yeah, because everything got moved up. So 13 fire. Okay. Is it the safety dance? No. Lord have mercy. How do I not know what stage this is? Oh, the problem is they dropped a stage. So Blinded Me with Science. Is it Art House?
It was towards the end. It was 10, 11, or 12.
Yeah, I know it was towards the end, but the oh, there it was. Yep. So it was, what stage was this? It was Our House, number 10. It was supposed to be number 11. Yeah, you shot, 16 Alpha, 3 Charlie, 1 Delta in like 1840. And I ended up shooting that in 2330 with 18 and 2, which was just funny enough. The back farthest target, I want to say it was the first target I engaged. No, which way did I go first? No, so it was in the last array. The last target on the last array, I had a pair like this. I just like a group like that. I'm like, hey, suck it. So, and funny enough, I was shooting with Jake Martins, and he's like, I want you to go do that again right now on the clock. Like, just go do that again. I'm like, that's not hard. Just hold the gun right and shoot the dot. Like, I mean, that's the one thing, like Patches always says, like, when we're watching people shoot, he's like, why aren't you shooting your dot? Like, just shoot the dot. Because a lot of people were just like, oh, what's this little red thing or these bumpy things on my gun? I'm going to ignore those. But that was a stage that was definitely going to get a lot of people, that far distant stage.
Yeah. If you rushed that at all, you were going to burn.
Yeah. I think my only gripe is that I made the middle like 2 positions because I think I got too far, or I needed to stop again to shoot the 2 targets on the left or something, those tuxes.
Yep.
But it wasn't a bad stage. I think, I don't know, besides that being your best performing stage, what did you have a stage that stuck out as your favorite from like the design standpoint?
Oh, I have a hard time remembering half of them because once I shoot one,
It's gone.
I kind of put it out and get make sure I'm focused on the next one. I don't know. I like the Wobble Bridge stage at Buckeye Blast. How they had it kind of separated and where you had to shoot some far stuff from the first position.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty well designed stage.
Yep. I think my only complaint on that stage was the darn tucks on that right side, from that you shot in the middle or from the back.
And there was a forward falling steel all the way in the back, so everybody that shot it hit the steel and then waited because it didn't fall down right away, and then it just slowly fell forward, and then you went, "Oh, now I can run."
Yeah. Now I'm curious. Did you go to what side? So what side did you shoot last in the back? Did you leave on the steel or did you leave on the paper to the right?
I left on the steel.
Okay. Is that just because you wanted to know you had confirmation on that steel before you could leave?
That was. I think that's just the way me and my buddies had talked about the best plan that we had came up with was that.
Oh, okay.
So that's I can't sit here and tell you why we did it that way, but that's what we came up with at the time.
Gotcha. Yeah. So like my whole thing is I went so I shot the middle. I went back to the left. I shot the paper and the too far steel, and then I went and shot across those two paper on the move. And then I ran up there, but of course, like a dumbass, I forgot to do my reload, so I'm stuck with a dry gun at the end. I'm like, son of a bitch. So then I finished it off. So it was like, oh Lord. I'm like, I knew I forgot something because I didn't plan. Well, I didn't forget anything because I didn't plan it. That was the problem. But like a lot of matches, like reloading with open is like so trivial now. It's like, at what point do you have to reload? Like, is it
there's only X amount of reloads you typically have to do at a major if you're shooting open. But we always do the safety reload, even if it's it's a 26 round stage. I'm not cutting it that close with a big stick, especially if there's steel on it. So I'm gonna put a reload in there somewhere.
Yeah, or have the backup. Okay, I threw 2 extra shots at the steel. It's time to throw an extra one. Yeah.
I mean, now I will run around a local match if it's a 26, 28 round, and just make myself diligent on the steel and not put a reload in. Mm-hmm. I will do that at some locals, but I wouldn't do that at a major.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't blame you. Absolutely don't blame you on that one. So, no, and it was cool because I thought Buckeye was a good opportunity. And that's kind of where you talked to me about, Sigma Artworks a little bit, about how you, because all those teaser videos were out. I think Bill put them up, or probably maybe Drew. I don't know who actually. Maybe it was Jay Slater put them up too.
Greater Pittsburgh's page, and then everybody shared them.
Gotcha. That's what it was. Yeah. So everyone was like, "What? These moving target steel?" Like as you mentioned, like Bill always would talk about these steel target arrays at World Shoots or big IPSC matches that are like things you don't see over here in the States. And you kind of brought that to life. So,
yeah, we were trying to talk to everybody we could to do some recruiting for Area 8 because we knew it was a new club and it was holding a big match, and people may not have been it's Area 8. I'm sure everybody wants to shoot Area 8, but we were just trying to make sure that people knew that, hey, there's going to be some cool stuff at Area 8, and to make sure they signed up ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, you want to make sure you want everyone to sign up. You want to get the attendance because that's how you can invest back in your club. Like I'm assuming, the funds from that match are just going to go back to investing into the property and make it even better, right? Like that's at least what we hope we can do.
Yeah. Yep.
So, so what have you always worked with metal? Is that like your day job, or is this is Sigma Artworks more of a, think of like as a hobby?
No, so I'm a steam fitter. So I'm a union pipe welder. Okay. So I've been welding for years, and I'm lucky enough to have a pretty decent sized garage at my house, and I do artwork on the like metal sculpture, kind of on the side.
Gotcha.
So I've always had the ability to weld at my house. And once Bill started showing me some of these targets, and I said, "Hey, I think I can build that." And he goes, "Really?" So from that point forward, it's been a brainstorm between myself and Bill on what he wants, and then I go out in the garage and make it happen. So yes, I have been a welder for years.
Okay.
Sigma Artworks is still a side job. I have a
Right, but I didn't know if you were like I'm an office guy, and then I just decided I'm going to pick up welding as a hobby, right? So you have experience with metal, right? So
yes.
So what got you into doing the sculptures in the first place?
I don't 100% know. I you see Instagram and you see people building stuff all over the place, and I see the stuff and I'm like, man, I know I could do that, but I guess I'll just have to try it one day. So I actually decided that I wanted to make a sculpture for my wife, and I ended up building her an owl that was about 3 feet wide, and I wanted it to be kind of like a present for her and to put it outside of the house, like kind of in the garden.
Mm-hmm.
And once I gave it to her, she's like, no, that needs to go in the house. And I'm like, how are we going to put a 3-foot metal owl in the house? So I had to build a big stand for it, and now it's in the living room. So once I did that one, I go, man, I got to try another one, and it just piece by piece start putting things together, and somehow I make it work. I don't know where that creativity came from, or people ask me, how do you do that? I don't know. I just start cutting pieces and shaping them and welding them together and making it go from there.
Right. So were you ever artistic growing up, or is this just, it just...
Yeah. Kind of was in like some art classes in middle school and always did a little bit of drawing. My dad was a bit of an artist, so I was, never quite as good as him, but I've always had a little bit of an artistic side. I like art.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I finally started making some of my own.
Right. So, and that's cool too, right? Like, excuse me. It's cool to be able to take something that you're kind of like you like and as a passion and turn it into a hobby, right? So the nice thing is you're able to take your day job experience to be like, all right, I know how to weld, aluminum or whatever piping I need to deal with, and turn this metal into whatever I need it to be. Like, it's not like I don't know how to weld, but I'm going to make welded art sculptures. So, and then eventually you turn Bill's concoctions or ideas into actual not death traps, moving shooting traps. So,
yep. He would show me videos and pictures from World Shoots of some stuff they had over there, and he would, as he was pasting targets, he would take a bunch of pictures of the targets, and then you'd have the stage and to show you how it moved. And I didn't use any of the way that those targets were built over there. We just built a target that did the same thing. Mm-hmm. So I basically re-engineered every target that he wanted to move over here with the parts and pieces that I was familiar enough with that were industrial enough to stand up to, running 350 some shooters through Area 8, and that target has to work every single time. So we'd build it, we'd test it. If some things didn't work out, we'd fix them. And pretty confident right now that the way we have them set up, they're no pun intended, they're fairly bulletproof.
Nothing wrong with that. So what was the first target you designed then?
The swinging slider is the first one that we built. So that was the swinging slider was actually in Western PA sectional last year. That was the first one that we did, and then we built just a stationary slider, and then we had a 3-plate roller coaster that just the 3 plates just went on a U shape back and forth. That was in Western PA sectional, and then the roller coaster target with the plates ended up turning into 2 targets with those 2 sliding plates that came together for Area 8. Mm-hmm. And I actually happened to work that stage at Area 8 with that sliding poppers that I had built, and I thought that was one of the coolest stages out of Area 8.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had a blast shooting it. It wasn't like it was super difficult to hit the plates, but as well as regular steel, when people start missing, they start clicking them off faster and missing even harder. Well, now that the plate was moving, some people really got excited and started throwing a couple rounds at it. But for the most part, people did really well on that stage, even with a moving popper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I bet it was pretty cool because you can see your own creation and invention. Every shooter, be successful. It's like, I bet at the beginning of the match you were like, I know this should work, but I don't want to see it fail, right? Like, there's always that feeling is like, is something going to happen, right?
No, we test them in the local matches,
Mm-hmm.
and tried to shoot them as much as we could and tune it, and it worked perfectly.
Right. So, okay. What stage was the stage you worked then?
Oh, 12 or 13. I gotta look it up.
Oh, okay. Yep. Looks like 13. Yep. Because I see Jay Slater put up videos of like all the bays, which was pretty cool. So you can definitely see with his drone footage. That's pretty. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So you had
Jay did a fantastic job at Area 8 with that coverage he did. That was awesome.
Jay and David Riddle and they had one other guy I think who was helping Jay like with the videography, wasn't he? Thank you for watching another episode of Manny Talks Shooting. I greatly appreciate it. And if you could do me a favor, go check out our sponsors when you are available. We've got D2 Custom Guns, Hunter's HD Gold, Go Fast Don't Suck, Outdoor Dynamics, Make Stuff Better, 2 Alpha Apparel, RangePanda.com, Summit City Bullets, Laugh and Load, Southern Bobby Q, and the Tom Castro Shooting Academy. Now let's get back to this awesome episode.
Yeah, he's a local guy that did a bunch of, and there's a bunch of that film that he took that's not that he didn't even process yet. There's a ton of cool stuff going to come out of that too, because at staff day, he was able to follow guys a little bit closer with some help from the ROs and really get in tight. I'm sure there's some really good video going to come out of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I have a question. Without giving away any of your intellectual property, how did you just push the carts back to the unexposed locations, and then like I'm assuming a pin holds them or something?
There's it's on a track with wheels.
Okay.
And there's a handle to put it back, and then all of my mechanisms that release the carts or swinging sliders, whatever, they're all basically spring-loaded latches.
Mm-hmm.
So once you set the steel back up, the latch comes back into place, and then once you push the cart or whatever it is, the latch flips up and clicks on it, and that's it. So you can set everything with one hand. All you have to do is push the cart back to the top, and they clip in, and that's it.
Nice. That is pretty cool. And it looks like there was, if you didn't shoot, now I'm assuming these were visible at rest, so people could still shoot them, but they had to go farther back into the stage if they missed them.
They had to move slightly, or there's a partial target sticking up. But yes, everything was available at rest, but you didn't want to have to shoot at any of them once they were at rest.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, you're done.
the goal is to not force the people to shoot them while they're moving, but that is the fastest way of the stage is to shoot them while they're moving. It's just like a swinger. You want to catch it on the first pass. So
yep.
We made it so that it forced you to shoot them while they were moving, and you didn't want to shoot them at rest because it would have just ate up time. Plus, there wasn't much of the target left to see.
Yep. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that is true. Now, was this your first major match working?
No, I worked Western PA sectional last year. This was the first area match I had worked.
Okay.
Because it was at my local club. So.
Oh yeah, why not? You're right. You're like 20 minutes from home. You get to sleep in your own bed. It's the best, right?
Yep.
I wish every major match I've worked, I've had to get a hotel because I'm like, I'm an hour plus from home. I really don't want to drive that early in the morning. So I was like, I'll just get a hotel. But yeah, when you're within that like hour, if you're like that within that 45 minutes, maybe it's like, yeah, I'll sleep in my own bed. I'll trade the sleep deprivation for my own comforts, right? So have you? So you've done I'm assuming you've got new ideas in store for Western PA. I'm assuming different target presentations.
There's a couple new things. Literally just built something brand new last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows what it is, but it will be at Western PA.
There you go. I'm excited for it. I'm going to shoot it.
Yeah,
I'm going to have a blast. I'm excited. Because I was like I said, I was bummed that I missed Area 8. So
I will say this new target that we built, I have never seen one in the States. I've never seen video of one being shot in the States. I'm sure they may exist, but never seen video at a big match of this type of target.
Gotcha. I'm excited then. It makes me more excited. I mean, I've got a banger of a squad, and then I get to shoot a bunch of really good stages, so I can't complain. So, I guess I want to talk a little bit more about Area 8, right? So you worked the match, you shot the match at your home club. So did you have any predetermined, like, any goal? Did you have any personal shooting goals going into the match?
I wanted to shoot a clean match.
Okay.
What I mean by clean is just, minimal mics and, no shoot penalties, targets as possible, but still maintain proper speed. You can't just slow down to not shoot a no shoot. That was my goal. And I accomplished that very well. That was the best major match I've ever shot. Was the highest percentage I've ever shot against the top guys in the country. So Aaron Edens was there shooting open. So to put up a score that I did against Aaron is a very good barometer of what's kind of possible at nationals, because you don't get to shoot against those guys very often. So was very happy with my performance at Area 8.
Right. That was kind of my performance at Area 5 last year. Shot against Aaron. I lost my class by like 15 points, which was less than 1%. But it was to a buddy of mine, so I was happy for him. But which pisses me off is he doesn't shoot open anymore. So his pre-registration slot to Open Nationals just went back. I'm like, nah, should have been mine. But no, and that's how I felt. Like I had a good barometer against shooting against Aaron. Obviously, a lot slower than a national champion, but it was a good test, right? It was those clean match, like you say, minimal penalties. It doesn't have to be. I mean, did you ever listen? I mean, you're friends with Drew, so do you listen to Steve Anderson at all?
Here and there.
Okay, well, like he talks about, like, not people who try to shoot for that absolute cleans, no penalties, right? They've got something to lose, and they're shooting conservative, right?
Yeah.
But eliminating not necessarily eliminating risk, not what I wanted to say, but like eliminating the stupid stuff to give yourself those easy mics. That's the key, right? Like knowing your boundary and shooting to your ability, but being cognizant of what's happening and not just doing stupid shit. Like that was me for Buckeye. Like I had 2 stages that I did stupid fucking shit, and I come away with mics, which killed my score. And
yeah, I believe the couple mics that I had at Area 8 were on open targets. So I paid respect to all the movers and the penalty targets, and then I mic'd some open ones. So
yeah, but it was a perfect double. You just didn't call for it. Did you ask for an overlay?
No, it wasn't there.
I know. I always give people shit, but it's like, get the overlay out. Just like ask them, like, especially on staff. Like usually when I shoot with my buddies on staff day, it's always a fun time. But I'm like, get that overlay. I want that overlaid. I don't care. I know it's a mic, but check it anyway. And then sometimes you get lucky, and the guy on the timer is like, he'll look at it and he'll talk himself into it, and it's like, okay, if you say so. No, really, it's not there. Don't talk yourself into it, people. But it's just like, Lord. But that's cool. So you came. I think where is your name? Although you came in 11th, so that was awesome. 11th out of there's like 70 some odd people who shot open. Shit, there's more than that. Yeah, 76. So 76 people shot open. So that's a really good, performance pretty much out of your second major shooting open. But and good points percentage too, right? Like you can't complain about that.
Yep.
So now I'm going to click in here. You had some good single digit finishes too on stages. You looked very consistent. There's no real outliers. Maybe that stage 2 was a little rough for you, but I mean, maybe it looked like.
Yeah, I've got the boat stage dropped me down a little bit. I've got a weakness with the open gun, and it's my weekend.
But I mean, Bill's probably said, "Oh, you got to practice with both of them," probably, right? But
we do all the time.
But in reality, like, how often do you see that at a local match or a state
class
match?
Fires?
Yeah,
class fires.
It's one of those things you definitely need to practice more on your own than expected to be tested in a match. But now because I saw your video on the boat stage. Why'd you stand up?
Originally, when I was talking about it with everyone, including the guy that designed the boat stage and wanted the boat there, we had all talked about standing up. And after I shot it on staff day, so I didn't get to see that many people shoot it. And as I was walking that stage or sitting in the boat trying it out, I was comfortable standing up and doing it that way rather than plopping back down and sitting in the seat. I don't know how many people stood. I don't know how many people sat. I felt really comfortable, so I just did it that way.
Gotcha. It makes sense. It was just like, it's really awkward it's not awkward to watch you, but it's like, yeah, there's a lot more movement in the boat stage if you're standing up. Like my buddy Mike Schulte is like 6'6", right? He's massively tall, and he's shooting PCC, so he's just kind of like slunked in the boat and just started shooting the rifle. And I was like, well, I guess that makes more sense. He didn't ever get up out of the boat. Now, did you know of anybody who fell in?
There was somebody that fell in on. It wasn't during the shooting, but it was on a staff day when someone was checking out the stage. Somebody stood up and took a header right out the side. So there was one person that fell in.
One person who got wet.
But luckily nobody fell in while they were shooting.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, that'd been miserable. It'd be just like, yeah, I'm wet now. Like it's already bad enough when you do get rained on or something, you're wet, and it's like, oh, this is miserable. I got to be here all day in these wet ass clothes.
Because that boat stage was a little non-typical, so we had actually had talks on what happens if someone falls in the water while they're shooting. Are you out of the shooting area? So that was a talk with the range masters on the what ifs could happen on that stage.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be interesting if somebody did fall in and be like, do you stop them? Is it a range equipment malfunction? It's like, I'll have to ask. I'll have to call Dan later and ask him what was the ruling on the boat stage if anybody fell in.
I believe they kind of determined that the boat was the shooting area. So if you fell out of the boat, you were no longer in the shooting area. But luckily it didn't happen, and we didn't have to get into that. But
yeah. That's a good rabbit. That's a good gray area for range masters because they love those little weird, quirky things that they can try to figure out. So
it was interesting to watch them guys try and talk through it.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. So, excuse me. So with Area 8, it looks like you're pretty happy with your performance. Shot 82% of Aaron, and all these guys who are top listers. Eddie Garcia came out, which was pretty cool to see. I didn't think he left the West Coast very much, but that's pretty cool because he helped sponsor part of the match, didn't he? Just a stage or I know he donated something, didn't he?
He donated part of a build at the staff dinner. But Eddie and Bill Drummond are very good friends. Bill actually shoots for Eddie, so that's part of the reason why Eddie was there. Gotcha.
That makes sense. Makes good sense. But no, and everyone knows an Eddie Garcia gun's going to be a tight gun. That's for sure. And that's probably one of the reasons Christian, is still shooting for Eddie, or shoots an Eddie gun, I should say, because I think he's got 2 of them now. or maybe even 3. You never know what's in his freaking hands. But I'm surprised that Eddie, like Eden's gun has got the less aggressive grip. I'm really surprised about that. I would really think they'd want like the cheese grater type grips.
That must be what Aaron likes, because I actually purchased one of Aaron's older backup Infinities, and it doesn't have the aggressive grip on it either. So that must just be something that Aaron likes.
Yeah, it must be. I mean,
Bill's accustomed to the sandpaper. Bill likes the sandpaper grips. I really like the aggressive, kind of the chili aggressive grip. I really like that. Kind of like what's on Patch's gun.
Yep. Oh yeah. I mean, my current gun's got a chili grip on it, and it's definitely nice. I don't know why I put grip chalk on, but it's probably more to protect my hands from the grippiness of the gun. I mean, like, give me some buffer, but it's like, yeah, it's a habit, and I don't know if I can stop it. It's just like more grip chalk. Although I've watched Christian, I think I've seen somebody sent me a video. Before Christian's make ready, he's putting on his pro grip, puts it on, doing his thing. He comes to the line, more pro grip. I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like, how much pro grip do you need, guys? Like, because then they're always wiping it off somewhere. I'm like, what's the point? You just smeared it all over your hands. But gotcha. So Area 8's over. You're still prepping for Western PA.
Yep.
Do you have any other majors between now and Western PA?
I think Area 5 is after Western PA?
No, Area 5's 2 weeks before Western PA. That's the only way I was able to make that happen. But it was
okay. So Area 5, and then Western PA, and then Open Nationals.
Okay. Are you going down with a crew for Open Nationals, or are you going solo?
I'm flying down with Bill. Obviously, I don't shoot on the Super Squad, but I'm hoping to catch up with Patches and shoot with Patches. That kind of brings me to another point I really didn't get to share. Is I gotta throw out some thank yous here. To
all right, go right ahead, brother. I mean, eventually we'll get there, but we go right ahead. I love this. Go ahead.
If it's in your spiel, we can get to there.
No, go right ahead. You do you.
But it kind of comes into being a year and a half into this sport, and being able to shoot 82% of a former national champion. That doesn't happen by chance. So I probably got luckier than anybody starting USPSA. That I don't know if they could have had. So first of all, the first guy I need to thank is Bill Drummond. Not only joining his club, but then working with him on building the targets, hanging out with him on Friday nights, and then actually becoming friends with the guy and practicing with him and shooting with him. I also took one of his classes when I first started into the sport. I took one of his classes right away, even though I didn't have the shooting skill. I wanted the information out of his class. So lucking into the correct information to start with from the beginning was giant. And then on top of that, shooting the local matches, I run into Drew Maruski. And if everybody knows Drew Maruski, most people do. Drew will help anyone. And if he sees somebody that's struggling a little bit or something, he'll come right up to you and say, you need some help, you have any questions? So I hit it off with Drew right away, and Drew just gave me boatloads of information and stuff to practice and ways to do things. And I started implementing them. But I ran into the two best people I could have ran into starting in the sport that anybody could have wished for. So on top of that, starting to shoot with Drew around all the locals on his squad, then you get to shoot with Patches Reader.
Isn't he just a hoot?
Patches is a special individual. There's not many people like that.
I don't know. His mom would say he's one in a million.
That's for sure. But Patches is a wealth of knowledge as well, and he's willing to help if you ask him a question. That same squad typically has Dan Heitzenreiter on it from D2.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to meet Dan right away. And Dan is just a blast to shoot with as well. And there's a couple other local guys at the club, Zach Poland, who's a huge help with kind of our local matches and stats and helping out with the major matches. He's also a very good shooter as well. He helped me when I started in the sport. So running into a bunch of good guys that were willing to help me off the bat with the correct information of what to do was just huge. So I can't say enough for those guys to get me where I'm at. The other thing I will say to that is I don't care how much information you get, you have to practice.
Mm-hmm.
The more time behind the trigger is everything. You can go to classes till you're blue in the face. If you don't put the trigger time in, you're not going to build those, muscle skills and watching how to read that dot. So I've put thousands of rounds downrange, and in my opinion, that's where it's at. If you want to get better, you got to shoot.
Oh, 100%. I absolutely agree with you. You get in what you put out. You get out what you put in. Blah.
Yep.
My brain is ready to take a nap, I guess. It's just like, but I agree. Yeah, people you got to put in the work, right? But it's got to be dedicated work too. It's like, right, if it's dry fire, you got to be dedicated in the moment. Live fire, you just can't be You can't be ballistically masturbating onto a target. It doesn't like when you think about it. It costs you 30-ish cents a round to shoot to make that noise in that hole in that cardboard target. You got to do it with a purpose, right?
Bill talks about it all the time. Do you want to waste 30 cents? Or do you want to do something with that 30 cents? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. And it's good to probably have a training partner too, right? Like to have somebody always there with you to watch you and know how you shoot. And
yeah, always. Because you can't always watch what your feet are doing. You can film till you're blue in the face of yourself practicing, but then you have to go and review the thing. But when you're practicing with Drew and some of them guys, and they go, hey, your foot was out of place when you took that shot. Did you notice anything when you missed that steal? It's because, hey, you were off balance or out of. Yeah, that's a huge help practicing with guys.
Mm-hmm.
Practicing with Bill Drummond and getting screamed at the same time will straighten you right up too.
Mm-hmm. All gas. You gotta be on your toes. That's for sure. I mean, I shot. What was it? I hosted Tom Castro for a class. And we had a practice session the day before the class, and oh my lord, did I get an earful about like, why are you going so slow? Hurry the heck up! You can shoot faster than this. Run like you mean it. And of course, I was having self-induced ammo problems from not being due diligent and checking my shell plate on my press. So when you load about 3,000 rounds without checking like your shell plate, and it was a little wonky, I'm like, so I had some high primer issues. I'm like, it's not the gun's fault. Like I know it's not the gun. Because I just cleaned it all because I just had issues at a local match prior, and then I found out in the training session and then at the class, I'm like, oh, I have a high primer issue. But what happened? What made this? And then it was my shell plate. I'm like, fuck. You know how much of a pain in the ass that is? I mean, it's great for like reload, malfunction manipulation, but it's still a pain in the butt.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, definitely could be. Oh yeah. So. And it's nice when you have like someone like Bill you can bounce ideas off of and you talk to, and you can cut a lot of the bull crap out, right? The really bad range advice you get from hearing at matches, right? Slow down and get your hits. I bet that's never said at Greater Pitt. If it is, it said like one person and they're like, silence. No, and you know what, you mentioned all those people, they're all good people. That's the nice thing is, right, they put their time in the sport. They want to make everybody better and have a good time. Like I don't think I've ever seen Patches or the crew in a bad mood ever. They're always super welcoming, and it's always good to see. Yeah, it's definitely always good to see. Like, I mean, I saw pictures at like Area 8, Drew running around with a weed whacker and a leaf blower, just like having a hoot of a time. And I'm just like, That looks fun.
Drew is a giant part of Greater Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Myself, Drew, Zach Paul. There's countless other people that come out and help set up, but there's a core of us that really strive to put on a good match, and make the matches run smooth, so that people want to come back. If people come and shoot a major and it runs smooth, like, they'll want to come back no matter what.
Yep, exactly. You don't want to. You want them to come back because you want them to spend money so you can you can make the club successful, right? Like, I mean, it's definitely, if someone has a bad experience, they're not going to come back. It's usually how it goes.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
like it's just like, you buy a car from somebody and you have a bad experience, you're never going to go back to that dealership.
Yeah, right. So yeah, luckily Area 8 went very well, and from the comments we've heard from people shooting the match, everybody had a great time and they loved the match. So the first, decent sized area match that we put on went very well, and now people know the club. They know how it's laid out. They know what to expect when they show up. So I don't think we'll have any issues now when we put on a major match, getting the people to come.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, right. So speaking of that, like West, let me pull it up because I have to look because I will misspeak if I don't look at it. So I'm pulling up the Western PA Section Championship presented by Mullen Camp. That button.
August 30th to September 1st.
Yep, Labor Day weekend. So I mean, like, I can't complain. Like, I don't have to take any vacation time off work.
Nice.
Because I drive in on Saturday, walk stages, shoot Sunday, leave Monday morning, and go home. Because Labor Day's on Monday, so I'm like, sweet. But yeah, so let's see, I saw the button a minute ago. There's still like 200 slots available, people, so like definitely still get in on the match. It doesn't look go ahead.
If you saw the videos from Area 8 and you saw the moving targets and the stages and you want to shoot something very similar to Area 8, don't miss Western PA Sectional, because all those targets will be in the match as well.
Right. Well, and this too, right? Like, so there's currently, guys, there's only 144 shooters signed up, which definitely could take a lot more shooters, which is definitely something that's needed, right? Like, definitely more shooters would be good because, hey, you want to beat the best. You want to shoot against the best. Do you know if Bill's planning on shooting it?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay. Good. That'd be good to see. I'll see him maybe be able to, hopefully. I don't know. I haven't seen him sign up. I haven't seen him squad yet, so I'm curious where he'll shoot or if he'll shoot through or if he's shooting on a squad.
What day are you shooting?
Sunday.
He'll shoot it. He won't shoot it during staff day. He'll shoot it during the regular match.
Gotcha. So maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe he'll be on the squad behind us or in front of us, so I can sneak back and watch. Like, I gotta see, guys. I gotta be able to see. But no, there's definitely plenty of slots. There's a lot of faces I recognize already signed up, so that's always a plus. Like I see Rob Epifania, Rob Hewins is signed up. Oh gosh, my buddy Jeff.
Pretty sure Sauerland's coming back.
Yep, I did. I think who told me? Who was it? Was it Greg? Maybe Greg did. He said, "Oh no, it was my sponsor. It was 2 Alpha Apparel." He told me that Sauerland's planning on shooting on staff day, which is nice because he gets to shoot, he gets to set the bar, and then people get to try to beat him. Because that was funny at Kentucky. He shot Kentucky and then worked the whole match, and his scores lasted out for the whole match. So he even won high overall. So not even an open shooter beat. Yeah. But there was a lot of running, so Joey's good at running. But no, it's good to see. There's plenty of slots still open, guys. So please definitely hop in on this match. I'm gonna be there. I mean, I don't go anywhere. That's my thing. I'm one of those recluses. I only go 6 hours away from my house when it goes to a match, purely from the drive standpoint. Because it's anything past that, it's definitely a 2-day drive.
Yeah,
maybe you can squeeze 10 hours in one day.
How far are you from Pittsburgh? 6 hours.
So I looked at the map. I map it from my house to the club. That's 5 hours and 10 minutes with a toll road.
Yeah, it's a fairly easy drive coming down from through Ohio there.
Yeah.
It took me 5.5 to get to Kentucky. I shot Kentucky last year. Wasn't able to get there this year, but I shot Kentucky last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5.5. That's about the limit on what I'd like to drive in a weekend.
Especially when you think about it, and you're probably driving by yourself too, right?
Yep.
I'm very fortunate. My wife is I get to be the passenger princess because she likes driving.
Oh,
So,
nice.
well, I mean, I did tell her, I'm like, I didn't expect you to drive 6 hours straight by yourself. Like, I planned on like swapping out with you. I'm not a morning, like, if it's dark out, I'm not driving. Like, well, it's because I keep telling this to everybody. I'm like, when I grew up, my mother always told me, if you fall asleep in the car, we'll get there faster, which is true. I do fall asleep. That's why I'm a passenger princess. But like, it's at like 5 o'clock start time in the car. I'm just like, I'm not awake. Sun's got to be up for me to be like awake or something. And so my wife will typically start driving. Her driving does not scare me that bad, so I'll let her drive. She probably says my driving's scary, but just a little different than hers. But yeah, I'm with you. 6 hours is more than 6 hours is just too long. Now for nationals, it's probably a different story. I'm hoping we can get like open nationals somewhere like in Ohio or somewhere closer to home because I don't want to drive to Talladega.
Yeah, we're gonna fly down this year, so see how that goes. I've never flown to a match yet, so
yeah. Well, you'll be with Bill and hanging out with him, so he'll walk you through the ropes and make sure that you got everything and how to pack it and make sure if there's an issue. Go ahead.
Had to get a new bag. Can't take my S3 cart on an airplane.
Yeah, you can, but you can't. You can't carry it on. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And it's funny that it's like I converted my old Zuka cart into an S3 cart because I liked the back. Like I bought my wife one for like it was joint like her birthday or anniversary and like Mother's Day. I'm like, here you go. Don't ask me for anything for a while. But then I'm like, oh, this bag is actually like way better than like the backpack I had shoved in it. So then I bought myself the bag, and I'm like, I do not regret this decision.
No, them S3 carts are the way to go.
Mm-hmm. My only bitch is because I have the large backpack cart is the base. It's a little too tall, like to sit on it comfortably. Because my legs aren't that long. Like my height is much more in my torso, so I'm kind of like I'm on my tippy toes. It's just kind of more of like a strained seating position. I'm not able to like. It's just like one thing. It's like you can just tell that the proportions are just a little off, but it's comfortable. I like it. It stores all my shit. So, but I'm not affiliated with them, but God, they make a good product. They make you some money.
When something just works, you can't discount it.
Right, and I'm not one of those guys. I hate like carrying a bag around with me. Like I did, what was it, Buckeye last year? I carried my bag around because it was far too muddy to use my cart. Because then I would have to put it back in the car all muddy. I brought the cart, but I'm like, no, I'm just going to leave you in here because this is already going to be a muddy mess. So I carried my backpack around, my range bag out of the cart the whole time, and it was okay. But God, carrying that much ammo around on your lower back it's a lot of weight, especially if you're prepared enough and have enough ammo to shoot the match twice. But the best part is you take it home and then you can shoot it for a practice match or a local because you're like, oh sweet, I don't have to load ammo. Or it's like free ammo because you allotted it all to this match. And I'm like, look at all this free ammo I have now. But Ron, I mean, God, this has been so fun. I have like a few more questions, not too many, but we've already kind of mentioned, the people who've like helped you get into the sport, which is awesome. God, here we go. So, you're kind of still new into the sport. You deal with a bunch of GMs and stuff. Do you have a GM level make ready?
I do not. I have a pattern that I do on my make ready, but if it's not in my head by the time I get in the line, it's not going to be in there. So I make sure that I'm prepared before I get there.
Yep. Well, and that makes sense, right? So, so what does your make ready consist of then? So you get called to the line. You've been told make ready. What are you doing?
Check the dot, because once you start shooting a dot, you got to check, make sure it's on. I pretty much check the dot, load my gun, holster it. I don't tend to dry fire at targets. I just check the dot, load it up, put it in the holster, kind of run through the stage once in my head, make sure my camera's on, and get at it. I don't like to stand there for an extended period of time.
Yeah, I don't blame you, especially
because, like I said, if it's not in your head by the time you get up there, you're not going to put it in there while you're standing on the line. So I make sure. Drew has kind of taught me, what it's like to put a stage in your head before you get up there. So I basically do that same thing before I get there.
Right. It feels awkward to be up there for too long, right? And that's definitely a thing where it's like, all right, come on, your time is over. I'm going to go and shoot. I mean, I know I have a somewhat long make ready, but I've seen a lot longer, and I'm like, especially when you're working a match and you're like, all right, make ready. And then you're like, God, are you still going? There's enough of those people, but I'm definitely with you. Take enough time, but not too much, because it ain't gonna be there.
By the time I get to the line, I just want to get after it.
Yep. Yeah. The worst part is then they tell you, oh yeah, put some bags on the targets now. So then you get cold, and then it's like, oh man. Yeah. That's a hoot. But yeah. So Ron, dude, I had a good chat. We had a long conversation pre-show, right? And that was awesome too. And y'all don't get to listen to it because it was before the show started. So But Ron, brother, thank you for coming on here and talking about your shooting. Greater Pittsburgh. Sigma Arcworks. I mean, hopefully these listeners enjoy it and find out more about it, and then decide to go shoot matches at Greater Pitt. So.
Yeah. We hope to get more people to all these majors. It's targets you're not going to see anywhere else in the country.
Right. So, if people want to get a hold of you, say maybe talk about shooting or maybe even commissioning, a steel target or something, where's the best place for them to reach you at?
Instagram. I have a Sigma Arcworks Instagram. Also my personal Instagram. Facebook Messenger. Anywhere they can find me, they can get a hold of me. And there's been some rumblings of some other clubs that may want some things built for them. So some of these targets might be popping up at other clubs. So they are, if you can think about it, I can build it. So, or if you've seen a target that we already have, that you want something very similar to that, give me a chat, and we can talk about getting fit up for whatever another club wants target wise.
Oh, absolutely. But people, if you really want to target, go hit up or just talk to Ron. Go ahead and hit him up. Talk to him. Sign up for Greater Pittsburgh. Go sign up for the Western PA section. End of August. Go sign up. Go shoot that match. There's plenty of slots. I'll be there. You can say hi to me. You can watch my hilarious squad as we're having a party on the range. So go out there, go get out there. As I say in every show, guys, get out and do the things. I'll see you on the next one, and thank you very much, guys. So